Downs Gaming and Hotel. We work extremely hard to make your experience here convenient, safe, and fun.
I love Batavia Downs Gaming.
We love it!
I love Batavia Downs Gaming.
We don't just like Batavia Downs Gaming, we love Batavia Downs Gaming.
Batavia Downs Gaming, Hotel, and Racetrack. We not only want you to like coming here, we want you to love coming here.
Folks, welcome back. It is Sunday Fun Day, but it is not ready for fun quite yet. We are ready for revolution in the form of AEW Revolution on the show, where it is not wrestling with your budget. It is not wrestling with your conscience. It is wrestling with emotion. Brought to you by the region's premier entertainment destination, Batavia Downs. All kinds of awesome events left in March Madness, and more. So make sure you're getting to Batavia Downs if you're looking to fill up that entertainment void in your life. We got two guys without a void. We got Slick Saturday, and we got the head of the table, Michael J. Partham. Folks, it is time for a big AEW pay-per-view. I would say this is the most pressure that's been on an AEW pay-per-view in probably about 18 months at least. I don't know how you guys feel going into Revolution tonight.
Definitely. And I think it has a good start. You know, first time they've ever done LA in the crypto.com arena for an AEW show. 10K tickets sold. Obviously, we know AEW been getting the slack about the questionable booking lately. They've had their good storylines that haven't gotten as much shine and maybe the flowers they deserve. But obviously, we're caught in a Death Riders monopoly here, it seems, in the main event scene. And that could all come to a screeching halt tonight for all we know. But yeah, definitely a lot of pressure on this show. And it always helps when you're opening up crypto.com arena, bringing the boom.
Yeah, well, they have a few things going for them. Tony Storm is timeless once again. Kenny Omega is back in the mix. It's good to see him on a pay-per-view event. MJF and Hangman is lighting on fire right now as far as storylines go. And obviously, we're going to have to see what happens in the car crash. It's going to be the main event, which I think is going to be a little bit too overbooked for their own good. But we'll get to that in a few.
All right. Well, if there's no other hesitation, any other thoughts before we get into the Revolution picks?
The Revolution will be televised, just not with the guy that usually says that.
Thank you, Bezos. All right. With that said, let's start it off. Daniel Garcia and the Undisputed Kingdom. Pretty great team there. Versus Shane Taylor Promotion. Shane Taylor, Carly Bravo, Lee Moriarty, and Captain Sean Dean. I'll just kick this one off. This is easy. If Daniel Garcia and the Undisputed Kingdom lose, I'm done with AEW.
Yeah, same. I think that's all that really needs to be said. You can't have your TNT champion and like one of your former main event guys and two other popular guys go down like that. So it's obviously them.
Yeah, it's our boy DG. It's Adam Cole and Shane Taylor Productions. Who gives a damn? It's a pre-show. It's usually the fan favorites going over in these matches.
Seriously. So we're all sweep on there. We got Danny G and the Undisputed Kingdom. We got Commander and Hologram. I believe this is also pre-show, taking on Lee Johnson and Blake Christian, the man with well, they both have two first names in a weird way. Yeah, with that said, Parthi, why don't you kick us off for these ones? I think this will be another sweep, though.
Yeah, I mean, Hologram, now that he's back, is basically TK's pet project, and Hologram's going to be winning for the foreseeable future unless he goes up against like an actual main eventer or something like that. But yeah, it's going to be Hologram Commander.
Yeah, Hologram Commander, this is like the perfect example of these guys you put on the pre-show so they can do some crazy shit to try and get you to buy this pay-per-view. I'm interested to see how this goes, but Commander, Hologram, obviously their highlight reel in the ring, so I think it's easily them here.
Yeah, this is a no-brainer. Again, if Lee Johnson and Blake Christian somehow find a way to win, I would just be so puzzled. What's the point? What's the purpose? I got no idea. All right. Well, with that said, we will keep it on. I'm gonna swerve around. No pun intended. Mercedes Moné, CEO. Now you can say what you want. The woman's good on the mic and she has good matches. You can say the crowd reactions, anything. I don't care what you say. With that said, obviously, I do not see Momo having her Momo tonight at Revolution. I got Mercedes Moné retaining in front of this crypto crowd. Slick?
I love Mercedes, one of my favorite women's wrestlers. And yeah, I agree, Maniac. She gets a lot of slack, especially online. I have no idea why. It's so undeserved. She's great on the mic, great in the ring. With that being said, I have no idea why this match is taking place. And the lead up was terrible. They kind of just threw it at us. She was ringside. Momo was ringside all of a sudden. Oh, she won this tournament that won her a TBS title shot, not even in our promotion. So this is one where I'm on the side of like, TK, what are you doing here? But obviously Mercedes has to retain the company's title against this girl that's not even on the roster. So Mercedes has to go over.
Listen, someone just tell Mercedes to lay off the double knee offense. I remember a match where it was like 50% of her moves or something. And don't get me started about her on the mic. I think she's been mid at best. But regardless, it's Mercedes title to lose until there's a worthy contender that the fans are actually getting behind. And Harley Cameron may have been that, but she only had one winner under her belt. It wasn't yet time for her to take that off of Mercedes. Maybe down the road, but not at that point, and certainly not here for Momo. It's going to be Mercedes retaining.
I think we've had pretty smooth sailing so far with the picks. I think right about now is when we'll start to get into maybe some contradictions around. Maybe not with this round, though. The Hurt Syndicate, not business, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin with MVP versus the Outrunners, Turbo, Floyd, and Truth Magnum. I've really liked what the Outrunners have been able to do in the build-up to this match. Parthy, it almost makes me think they're going to win, but I'm going to let you kick it off for this round. Who takes down the AEW Tag Team titles tonight in LA?
Yeah, the Outrunners are popular. The Outrunners are having segments like those throwback 80s segments that people are really enjoying. But the Hurt Syndicate basically almost just won the tag team titles not too long ago. I think they're going to have a nice long run with those titles. The Outrunners are a team that if they get some momentum, get some wins under their belt, get the crowds really behind them, like live crowds, live reactions, I could see them eventually taking them off the Hurt Syndicate, but not at this time. I think it's a little too soon. They're trying to elevate the Hurt Syndicate to another level.
Yeah, I love what the Outrunners are doing. It's kind of a shame that they're on Collision quite a fair bit because I don't get to watch Collision as much as I get to watch Dynamite. But I really love these guys. And for all the slack you can give AEW about their marketing, what these guys have been able to do, like going into the Omaha men's basketball locker room and like dropping the people's elbow on garbage cans, getting them hyped up, going to these games, sitting courtside, doing segments in between like stoppage. It's great. They have a really throwback tag team vibe that it's almost nostalgic, but really good. These guys are awesome. But the Hurt Syndicate is just better. And it's too soon to take it off of them. But I think the Outrunners come very, very close. And it's one of those, there's going to be a moment where the crowd thinks we're going to have new champions, but ultimately it's not going to happen.
Who did the Outrunners beat, remind me, to get the title opportunity? They had a match against another team, I think. And I think the Hurt Syndicate interjected themselves, if I'm not mistaken, but I forget which team it was. Because I get the feeling that the Hurt Syndicate made the match go one way because they figured the Outrunners are just going to be pushovers. And like you said, Slick, the Outrunners are going to give them their run for their money. But yeah, ultimately, it's going to be the Hurt Syndicate. As good as they can make the Outrunners look, Hurt Syndicate obviously is going to retain.
Yeah, the Outrunners, Murder Machines are the premier athletes, one of those two.
Wasn't it Lance Archer and Brian Cage?
Yeah, the Hurt Syndicate probably in story thinks, well, these guys are matching us size for size, and they might be a bigger danger than the Outrunners.
It was Lance Archer and Brian Cage because this was a stupid finish too. They literally just played the Hurt Syndicate's music, and they started to come out, and Lance fucking Archer that big ass dude turns around and is just looking at the ramp. And one of the Outrunners rolled him up for a clean 1, 2, 3.
If you turn your back on an active opponent just because you hear music, you honestly deserve everything that happens to you.
That is
Wrestling Tropes 101.
Fair, yeah.
Well, I think we see it a little bit less nowadays because it's so stupid. But yeah, you're right.
Dude, and when Lashley was coming out and the pin just happened, he was just laughing his ass off. They didn't even do anything.
Yes. Okay, so we got a clean sweep of the Outrunners, and then, clean sweep of the Hurt Syndicate, and that also includes Micah and the Prophet Rob Ryan. They are also on the Hurt Syndicate as we get into the card here on AEW Revolution, brought to you by Wrestling with Emotion.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good. All right,
Apparently,
folks, stand
apparently
by.
Maniac is not brought to you by Wrestling with Emotion.
That's why I
And he's
don't.
back.
That's why I don't fuck with the laptop, because you literally you do a one little thing like this, and it takes you all the way back.
I was scared it died.
Yeah, no, yeah, I wouldn't let that happen. We're charged up, baby. Shout out Drake. With that said, we are getting into the match card now. I lost my position in the banners, but okay, we're back. Let's go with this one. This is probably, a pretty easy call here. I don't know about you guys. We've got the Nueve, Chris Jericho, taking on Gravity. Jericho, I just can't see him losing the spot. I know that Jericho lost to, Action Andretti, not, in the past, little situations, but I just can't see him losing. I think the Nueve gets the win here. It's who do you got?
I want to pick Gravity so bad, but I think it's time that Gravity learns his lesson from the learning tree. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Nueve as well.
For the ROH World Championship, obviously.
For the rest of you out there, I made a joke on our little pre-show gathering. Looks like Chris Jericho, if you look at his physique, he's been losing to Gravity a lot lately. But I think, Chris Jericho's the Ring of Honor champion. This is the second time he's been Ring of Honor champion. Isn't the theory, the idea behind it that, hey, Chris Jericho's our champion. Can someone please buy Ring of Honor and put it on TV or something? This is the second time they've tried this. Putting Chris Jericho at the top of Ring of Honor, so they can probably try to sell it, but we haven't heard anything as such. So what's the point of having Chris Jericho as Ring of Honor champion and defending it on an AEW show? But I digress. It's Jericho's going to retain. Although one thing I should mention is there's been a little bit of disillusion in the learning tree if you've been paying attention to Collision. Was it a Collision segment? I think it was a Collision segment where he's basically talking down to the other guys, Big Bill and Brian Keith, basically admonishing them for not pulling their weight.
Big Bill knows he can main event a WrestleMania, so he's not going to take any of that shit from Jericho.
Dude, Big Bill and Powerhouse Hobbs has been great. Great shit. Good shit.
Really real good shit happening there. Let's go to coin drop, Kazuchika Okada versus Brody King. This match for the AEW Continental Championship. Brody King, a beast. He can eat a man and still ask for seconds. With that said, Parthy, who you got, Okada or Brody?
Well, Brody King and Buddy Matthews, who are they now? They're not the House of Black because Malachi's on his way out.
Hell, I believe.
The Hounds of Hell. Nice little rebrand, but not enough for any kind of momentum where someone's going to be clamoring for them to be champions or defeating Kazuchika Okada. Okada's carrying that Continental Championship, and essentially he's saving it for a certain someone who will also get to, but Okada's going to win.
This is going to be a hell of a match. First off, like you said, that was a great joke that you made, Maniac. But this is going to be a match where Kazuchika Okada, if he hasn't already, he's going to wow you. He's going to wow a lot of people. Just because, like you said, Brody King's such a massive human being and such a beast in the ring. And Okada's just going to match that and wow you with his power and strength versus this massive human being that is Brody King. So I'm going to go with Okada to retain. This is this potential steal the show match. Really good. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think when you weigh whether it could be a steal the show match, part of it is with the expectations. And the expectations for Okada and Brody King are like the fifth or sixth best match on the card. So there's a lot of leverage there for the gym to jump up. I do think Okada retains as well. I mean, it just feels like with a lot of these championship matches, they have kind of upper middle tier opponents that they're just good enough to have a championship match. But so far from what we've assessed, nobody that's really over the top, nobody that's really, needs the title right now. With that said, we got a match for a robe.
Yes.
And a number one contendership.
Yeah,
that is true.
This is big. I'm sorry. I cannot have Ricochet be the number one contender of the AEW Championship. Give me Swerve Strickland. Give me Prince Nana whipping and dipping. It's going to be awesome. I expect a good match. Obviously, this has been what feud has been going since last year at this point, a couple months. With that said, yeah, I got Swerve Strickland in this one. Slick, what do you got?
I got Swerve as well because he's going to be the next AEW champion after whoever wins tonight.
Ooh.
And
Big
someone is getting stabbed in the head with scissors in this match somehow, one way or the other. It might be Nana. It might be Swerve. It might be Ricochet. It might be Don Callis. Could be one of the refs. Could be Taz. But I don't know. This is gonna be crazy. Some sick shit is gonna happen. But yeah, Swerve better win this match because Ricochet trolling as the AEW #1 contender. We just can't have that yet. That would be real heel heat, as if he doesn't have it already. So let me swerve when I drive tonight. Whose house? Swerve's house.
It was kind of curious that Prince Nana all of a sudden is giving Swerve Strickland an ultimatum, like get my robe back because I've been taking all these bullets for you. It sort of came out of nowhere, at least from my point of view. I didn't really see any tension leading up to this sort of thing.
These are best friends, Parthy. This is a straw that broke the camel's back situation. Nana has gotten killed for Swerve. Now, is this a big deal with the robe? No, but this is a classic straw that broke the camel's back situation between two best friends.
All right. So, and I think Ricochet might have said something about the robe getting altered, which why would he be doing that? I have a feeling that someone, I'm not guaranteeing this, but I get the feeling that's an indication that somebody else might be showing up on Ricochet's arm, a valet of sorts, maybe a manager that he's been, anticipating coming in. And I think Ricochet won the first match. So that would lead me to believe that Swerve's going to win this match. If it wasn't for the #1 contendership, and if I was not predicting that Prince Nana is going to break up with Swerve anytime soon. This is just a little tease, I think. But if Samantha Irvin was going to show up, I would almost think that favors Ricochet. But like you said, Maniac, this is for the #1 contendership for the AEW World Title, and I cannot have Ricochet fighting for the AEW Championship against either man that might emerge as world champion at the end of this pay-per-view. So it's pretty much automatically going to go to Swerve. Him and Prince Nana are going to get his robe back and make nice and all that stuff.
Swerve did make that joke about Samantha on Dynamite during the contract signing. So
yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not being an asshole here. What does Samantha Irvin bring to Ricochet's current character? He's going nuts on the mic himself.
Actual mic skills instead of attempted
but
mic skills.
Does she have? But when has Samantha Irvin shown during a live wrestling show that she has mic skills? Besides announcing someone awesome.
They never gave her a chance. She was clamoring for it, and
you can't say then that she's just going to come in with heat. Like when we had Miro in AEW, we were talking about Lana joining him, and that would have been a big deal because Lana is absolutely fire on the mic. Obviously, ended up being a complete washout. With that said, I just don't get what the big deal of Samantha Irvin that's you want to talk about AEW being misguided on what's going to get a pop and what's going to be a huge draw. Samantha Irvin's a huge draw. It seemed like she was a huge draw because Cody really liked her. She's
certainly a huge draw on Instagram.
Okay, well, so is Natalia. So maybe we can book a championship match there. Again, no disrespect to Samantha Irvin. She's a professional. She's got to figure out what she's got to do. She's got to get that bag and she's got to get her limelight. I just don't get what her coming into this situation adds to the overall equation. So maybe I'll find out. Maybe I'll find out that I'm a noob. But we are all on Swerve Strickland in that match, including Micah and the Prophet Rob Ryan. Wait, Parthy, you hear that? Boom! It's Big Boom AJ and the Conglomeration versus Johnny TV and MXM Collection. Great group. They did get their work done in SGW. Now they're in AEW TV. Love it. With that said, Parthy, who you got in this matchup?
Isn't Johnny TV just a part-timer? Where is he officially? He's in MLW or something like that?
ROH, I think.
He's in ROH?
He's squash meat.
Yeah. These guys are all of them are squash meat. You get a celebrity and you get some couple of popular guys like Orange Cassidy and Mark Briscoe on one side. Yeah, they're gonna win. The Big Booms are gonna win.
Indeed. They did a video with this with Johnny TV informing Mansoor and Mason backstage that AJ just got Orange Cassidy and Briscoe to team up with him, and they were like pissed as hell. They were like, I thought we were fighting kids. It's hilarious. Well done on AEW's part with that. But ultimately, yeah, like Parthy said, you bring in a guy like Big Boom AJ, who's like probably a bigger draw than anyone on WWE's mid card. He has to go over here, and Orange Cassidy and Mark Briscoe teaming up. I mean, that's like those three guys, no chance they lose in this spot on the lead up to a pay-per-view. This is going to get the crowd so fired up going into that pay-per-view. Very smart on AEW's part. Big Boom AJ is going to get a 3 count, and then he's going to get 3 big booms.
I like it. I hope we get some good Rizzler action. I'm sure he'll be around ringside, of course. Yeah, it'll be very interesting. Big Boom AJ, I mean, with all due respect to the AEW roster, I mean, in the last 6 months, he has a top 5 pop, in my opinion, as far as what's happened. So, with that said, I think Big Boom AJ and the conglomeration, it's a no-brainer. I'm interested to see if Big Boom AJ is going to open the forbidden door into the Death Riders storyline. That's all I'm saying. Eventually, it depends what happens tonight. It depends what I'm saying. If they get their comeuppance, there's obviously no need for it. But if somehow, by crook, by hook, not Taz's son, they win, I could see Big Boom AJ getting into that storyline. With that said, let's keep on rocking in the free world. Ooh, now we just got all prime rib matches. Let's start with this one. Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher in a steel cage. So they're essentially running this back, but just in a steel cage, right? I'm just making sure from the last pay-per-view, okay? I know there's been a little buildup. I know there's been a little animosity. It's, I don't know if I've ever seen this before, but best friends turned bitter enemies. You hate to see this in the world of wrestling. Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. At the end of the day, Will Ospreay won the first matchup, right?
No, Kyle Fletcher won the first matchup.
Oh, he did? All right. Well, then this is obviously a get-back spot. I got Ospreay. It's like, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ospreay as well. This is probably match of the night, in my opinion. Excited to see what they do with the rest of the Don Callis family outside the cage. There's definitely going to be some shenanigans, as some would say, going into this match, and quite honestly throughout it. But these guys know how to put on a wrestling match better than anybody. I mean, they're best friends. They know each other better than anybody. So work well, gel well in the ring. It takes 2 to tango, and these guys do it the best together. So it's going to be a hell of a match, but we're going to see some crazy stuff, and Ospreay is going to get the win. And let me see Don Callis get thrown off the cage or something. He deserves it.
Yeah, it seems like this is the end of the road, at least for the time being, for Ospreay and Fletcher's rivalry. Obviously, they're going to run into each other down the road, but I think Ospreay is going to finish off Kyle Fletcher and be done with the Don Callis family for the time being. Kyle Fletcher won the first matchup somewhat surprisingly, I think. I believe they had a match in the Continental Classic tournament, and I think it might have been one of the semifinal matches, and Will Ospreay got over him on that. So essentially, it's tied 1-1. But I think this is where Ospreay is going to finally dispose of his former best friend.
Oh, Kyle, you hate to see the Aussie turn to a bad guy.
Oh, you know what? That makes his name is Kyle. That makes this even more appropriate. That there's going to be Don Callis family, and there's going to be
Shenanigans.
I was waiting for you to hit it.
The Prophet and Micah are also on Ospreay as well. So yeah, I mean, it just seems like an obvious get back spot. You could have him overcome the odds of the Callis family outside, and you can also change that dynamic for sure. Speaking of that dynamic, my guy, Konosuke Takeshita, with Don Callis versus Kenny Omega for the AEW International Championship. Don't ask me the difference between the Continental Championship and the International Championship. I couldn't tell you. With that said, Takeshita versus Omega. Now, I'm trying to remember, but I believe it was about 18 months ago at All In when Takeshita pinned Omega. And that was like a massive occurrence.
Then it was 6 days later at All Out, he pinned him again.
Yeah. Ran him back to back. With that said, just like the Ospreay spot, again, not that wrestling is this basic. This is the first match that we've talked about on the entire card, and we got other championship matches coming up where this contender could take this title and potentially elevate it from where it's at right now. And that's with no disrespect to my guy Takeshita. He just clearly is not a mic worker. I love him. He's the best. Well, probably the best. I think he's a top 5 wrestler in the world currently. But as far as AEW, they need people who can talk. They need people who can entertain. And ultimately, Omega can do that. So I think Omega gets the win here. And he wins the title. I was almost going to say by disqualification. He gets the win, but I think Omega gets the title as well. So Omega's the winner.
Yeah, that's an interesting dynamic that you could bring in, maybe even a count out situation or something. But yeah, going to be interesting with Don Callis playing into this match as well as possibly the steel cage match. But
the damn invisible hand.
Oh man, yeah, he's a real bastard. But I think you said it best, Maniac. This is the best opportunity you have currently to make this international title feel important, probably that it's ever been since like Orange Cassidy and Moxley.
Yep.
But yeah, let me hear the battle cry. I'm going with the GOAT, Kenny Omega. Bow.
Yeah, hasn't he been bouncing between his battle cry and his like New Japan music lately?
Yeah, dude, I was really upset
confusing.
The last big match, he used the new music again after he went back to Battle Cry. So I hope to hear the battle cry tonight.
Yeah, I do too.
The one-winged angel.
Takeshita and Omega are going to have a banger, which they usually do. And obviously, this is the spot where Omega gets his win back for the couple of times he put Takeshita over. And you remember I said earlier that Okada's hanging onto that Continental Championship for someone. I think you're going to be a little less confused, Maniac, because down the road, I think it's going to be an all-in Okada versus Omega, the merging of the Continental and International Championships. I think that's where we're heading down the road. And by that, I think Omega is going to win the title tonight.
Probably makes sense. That's definitely making sense of it. But and now my only question is that match allowed to occur anywhere legally but the Tokyo Dome?
I mean, I don't know if they have an exclusive rights deal, but at some point they got to meet outside the Tokyo Dome. They can't just live there together.
I mean, it would make sense for like New Japan, one of New Japan's biggest pay-per-views, to like unify that into the Continental title. So AEW could get that spot as well and then be like, oh, and then they're going to defend it in the next Continental Classic, like going forward. And that's how the belt's going to stay incorporated. But yeah, I don't know if they would run that, especially when like Japan pay-per-views are at like 4 a.m. So
yeah, no, I agree. It would be cool if something, maybe an empty Tokyo Dome, who knows? But something's telling me they won't be leaving this match empty. With that said, over under 4.6 stars for Omega Takeshita.
From who specifically?
From you know who?
Our boy Uncle Dave.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be more than 5.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I was going to go.
This has 6 potential for sure. That's why I set the over under. Basically,
it's over.
It's a 5-star match.
It's definitely over.
I mean, when I look at the card, I think that's going to be the best. I think that's the match that I would show someone who's like, "Yo, check this out. Wrestling is sick for sure."
Yeah.
So yeah, we're all on Omega as well. So there are a lot of sweeps on this card from our picks so far. So interesting, but we'll see. Now it's time for some true cinema. Timeless Toni Storm. My number 1 women's wrestler right now. I'm sorry. Respect to Rhea Ripley. Respect to Slick's mommy, who's on top of him. I have got Timeless Toni Storm as a power ranking wrestler. Best on the mic. Can do it in real life as an actual shtick. How many wrestlers can do their shtick in real life?
Not
a ton.
Stone Cold.
Not a ton. Yeah, like Stone Cold, like The Rock.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is that it goes real life and obviously great quality wrestling. With that said, I don't really know what's going to happen here. This is the absolute rubber match of this feud. And Timeless Toni, I mean, I think she I got to look at it from a business sense. I think she has a great relationship with Mariah May. And sometimes when these wrestlers do have great relationships and friendships, they love putting each other over and trying to make each other like a true star. So with that said, I am going to go against my heart, and I am going to pick Mariah May in this match. Slick, your call.
Yeah, this is so tough. Obviously, where my heart lies.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about the Queen of the Ring? Like, we want to talk about kayfabe being alive and like them doing great marketing and stuff leading up to pay-per-views. Mariah, the Queen of the Ring premiere, where Mariah attacks Timeless Tony mid-interview while Timeless Tony is staying in 100% character on the mic for like a movie reporter, gets smacked in the head. I wonder if that lady even had a clue what was happening.
Bro, that lady was frazzled because like literally Toni Storm was trying to play it off like she was super embarrassed and she wasn't going anywhere. Like typically when they do that in real life, everyone runs off, like everyone runs away, so nobody has to explain what just happened. But literally Toni Storm was like trying to like embarrassingly like explain what just happened. Like it was actually cinema.
Yeah, and for a second before they pushed her away, Mariah was like leaning over her, like screaming in her face.
Yeah.
Like, and cameras were like, oh my, the lady was like, what the hell is going on? So in my opinion, calendar year, this has been hands down the best feud in AEW. It's not even close. No idea what's going to happen. I'm so frazzled by this. I'm going with Mariah. God, just like you said, Zach, they're like best friends. I think this Tony doesn't need this. She can go. I just don't know who's next for either of these two. Like, obviously, you look there, but like, would you put Tony in the TBS spot, or would you try and get the TBS off Mercedes at some point and get her into the women's title picture? So that's where I get confused, because I really don't know what would come after this if they're like branding this as the rubber match, like to end all like the Hollywood ending. You know what I mean? Is there going to be a sequel to the ending? Like, could this keep going potentially?
I could see this getting crazy. I could see this getting chaotic for sure. And when you just said it out loud, I mean, how funny would it be? Let's say Mariah May does win. Again, I think Tony could start. This is a 50-50 one for me. I think May could win for sure. How funny would it be if Timeless Tony then became like, well, all the movie stars are doing TV. I'm going after the TBS. Like, you know, like something like that. That would be funny. That would be funny. So, like, when you just said it out loud, that came to me. So, again, there's so much. Good. That's why she's my favorite wrestler, because you can literally, like imagine these things happening. All right, Parthy, who you got, though? Mariah May versus Toni Storm. You got to break the total here.
Well, the curtain's going to come down on this because this is cinematic match, as they're calling it.
They call this cinema.
And it's not just a cinematic match. It's not just the curtain comes down on it match. Who cares? It's a Falls Count Anywhere match, which means... Wait, why are you guys doing the rock motion?
Because you did 2 videos, and that's okay.
Rob's not here for us to do videos. Come on, let's go. It's a Falls Count Anywhere match, which means that whoever's losing doesn't have to lose too much shine. Timeless Toni Storm just got the damn title back at Grand Slam. Why would she lose it right back? And Mariah May's title reign without Timeless Toni Storm was basically lackluster at best. They're not going to put the title right back on her. Toni Storm can have great feuds, great matches with other women that she hasn't yet had feuds with or title matches with. So I think Timeless Toni is going to keep this and just keep going with it and see where it goes and see if she can find another great feud. I think Mariah May's title run has run its course. They're not going to start it all over again. I think Mariah without Toni at this point is kind of mid-tier at best.
Mariah May's her
you heard me, Slick.
It was lackluster, but in my brain as well, if Mariah May loses this, then she's almost like dead in the water. Like, who's she gonna go?
Just like Tony says, you lose this, you're gonna be mid-tier. You're gonna be forgotten. You're just gonna be put to the side. I'm not gonna give you the mercy of death, the dignity of death. I'm just gonna let you sit over here and wonder what could have been.
I feel like Mariah didn't benefit from not having like a whole lot of worthy challengers. She was still chopping it up on the mic heavy week in, week out. I feel like she doesn't get a lot of credit for that. Tony, they got like all the publicity out of her that they wanted and more the past couple months. So I think make a star right now, Mariah May.
Yeah, and Parthy, don't you maybe creep into your mind that like Tony knew that like Tony Khan knew that Toni Storm was going to be at this like red carpet in between these two events, like when they're scripting stuff out, and to have the championship on her when she gets tagged, little bit of a good pop. But
Mariah was there too. Why couldn't she just have the championship there?
Well, Tony's in the movie. She's going to be getting way more pub. That's my take.
Part of the show. Mariah stole her red carpet moment.
Yeah, she did steal a red carpet moment. With that said, two guys seeing red right now in their feud. We got MJF versus Hangman Adam Page. Yeah, this should be a banger. This should be a good match. I will go in. I think this, yeah, I can see this being 20 to 25 minutes easy. I am going to go, though, with MJF on this one. Slick, what do you got?
I think we could see another version of this. This might not end tonight. Just based on how intense it has gotten and how much these guys seem to truly hate each other right now. Dastardly things are going to happen in that ring. Like you said, could be 20 minutes, but really excited to see this. Great promo leading up to it as well. I'm going to go with Hangman Adam Page. And then I think this is going to be like where he starts to go back to like realizing that like he's like the people's champion, kind of. No pun intended there. And because MJF's leaning towards his devilish side and saying the crowd, like they're fake. They don't realize like who's actually fake. I think this is where Hangman starts to become more of a good guy again, and MJF just continues his devilish ways, and we maybe see another match down the line.
Oh, we're definitely going to see another match down the line. I think we're going to see maybe at least 2, maybe 3 matches. And what do you do when you're going to have a program rather than just a match? The heel wins the first match. We saw it with Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay. We saw it with Ricochet and Swerve Strickland. We saw it in the trilogy of matches that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre had over this past summer and fall. So I think MJF has to win this first one. So I think it's going to be, I could see this going one way or the other, but if for the long term, I think MJF has to come out of this first one with a win.
Okay. So we got split crew there, or are we sweep across?
I'm on Hangman. Who's
Rob and Jake are both on Hangman too.
Rob and Hangman are in Parthia are both, or not, Rob and Micah are both on Hangman. Very interesting. Well, with all due respect to Bruce Buffer, it is main event time. I will say a take. I cannot stand calling this guy Cope. He'll never be Cope to me. I would take Adam Copeland. That like makes me feel like more realistic because it's like I know Adam Copeland's edge. Calling him Cope, like a little weird. Like
Cope, bro. Cope.
Like Cope, bro. John Moxley. I mean, talk about a title run that's just been like a rudderless boat. I mean, I love him. Great wrestler, great on the mic, but like the material here is just like, what were we doing? Again, if Shane McMahon was supposed to come in like 2 or 3 months ago, I guess this makes sense a lot more. That does seem to be like what was whispered could have been going on for sure. But ultimately, what are we doing with the Death Riders every week? It seems like Copeland has gotten as close to taking down the Death Riders and Moxley as anybody else. He's taken down everybody, right? He just took out Wheeler Yuta on Wednesday. With that said, he did do like a little respect thing with Wheeler Yuta at the end, like where he was like, yada, yada. I feel like that could almost come back to bite him here. And I just feel like the Death Riders, like drama, I would call it at this point, is just not done yet. It hasn't reached its climax. It's very annoying right now, but it hasn't reached its climax. Somehow, some way, John Moxley is walking out of this event with the title. I do think there maybe is a 10% that Cope gets his moment with Pyro and then Christian comes in, but I got Moxley retaining this title. Slick, what do you got for this main event?
When you laid that situation out, I can't unsee it. So I'm going to go and new Cope. You want to get eyes on AEW? Put a WWE Hall of Famer as your current champion. Get this Death Rider shit over with. No one is feeling it. It's clearly a disaster. The things you can do with Cope and Christian having this briefcase, and then immediately move on to fan favorite Swerve Strickland, who, if he pins Cope or Christian, looks like even more of a beast because of how good of wrestlers they are and the history they have. So I think the obvious choice here is to put this title on Cope. I know people disagree with me, and I really hope that they do it, but slim chance they don't. Just based on the history of this Death Riders storyline and when we thought it was maybe going to end. But I really hope they do the right thing here and put the title on Cope. And then we'll see what happens after if they do. When you laid out the Christian situation coming in, killing the moment, I would love to see that countdown interrupt the Pyro. Oh my gosh, that would be cinema.
So what's your pick? You want to see Cope win, but who's your pick?
Cope.
Okay, so you're officially picking Cope.
Cope.
They call this
I
cinema.
Yeah,
well, if you want Cope to win, then I'm afraid.
But I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Yeah, doesn't matter what we want. It doesn't matter what the fans want. It doesn't matter what makes logical sense. It only matters what TK wants. Actually, I checked that. It only matters what Moxley wants, because Moxley in real life, this is his baby storyline, and it'll end when he wants it to end. And he's been in TK's ear saying, "Hey, I know the fans, they're not buying this, but we gotta ride it out, man, because it's long-term booking, man," or however he talks.
No.
And there's a lot.
No.
All right, I won't do that voice again. Sorry, but there's elements in play here. It's not just Christian. You're on the mute monster, maniac. You're not supposed to be talking while I'm talking anyway.
I was giving you so much respect. I didn't want to come over, but I will say the only John Moxley vibe that we respect in this chat and this show is John Moxley freshly hitting a blunt on the sidewalk.
That was amazing.
It was so funny.
All right. So there is Christian. There is that factor. I think that's going to come into play. I mean, I don't know that he'd necessarily pull a Seth Rollins and make it a triple threat, although that would allow disqualifications to not be allowed. That would make it a no DQ match, allowing other shenanigans to happen.
Wait, what did you just say?
If Christian cashes in his contract during the match, he's essentially pulling a Seth Rollins, making it a triple threat, thereby no DQ.
I'm sorry.
Allowing other factors to come into play, possibly. Whether the Death Riders get involved, because Christian basically took them out. During the match, after the match, I don't know if Wheeler Yuta is necessarily pulling a double cross. I think him walking out was a genuine article of storytelling. We all anticipated that Cope was going to take Wheeler Yuta out with another concerto or something extreme, but pulled a little psychological warfare on John Moxley and basically told Wheeler Yuta to tell Moxley to hit the bricks or something. But there's one other element we haven't mentioned yet, and that's Cope's new buddy, Jay White, who's been professing how he's going to be helping out Cope to beat John Moxley. Going
very
out
sus.
to do it.
Very sus.
Very, very sus. I think Jay White is going to factor into this match first and foremost. I think Christian is either going to cash in during or after the match, or try to cash in during or after the match. One way or another, I don't see Christian being successful. I think Cope is either Christian's going to try and foil Cope's attempt to win the title, or Cope will foil Christian's attempt to cash in on the title afterwards. It's just going to be an overbooked mess. We're going to be asking who the heck wrote all this, man. Come on.
I was clicking at the same time, Party.
Let me do the damn clicking around here. I was the one that led up to it. All right.
Is there a chance that Christian is coming out to like cash in after Cope wins, and then Jay White comes out to like save Cope from Christian doing it, and then he just like turns on Cope, kicks him in the nuts, and joins the patriarchy?
Or joins the Death Riders, possibly?
Who the fuck wrote this bullshit?
Okay, we got it.
And that's why I'm not writing for AEW.
I will say that I do agree, Parthy. This is going to be some overbook craziness, because either you need overbooking to get Moxley a win and get the fans pissed.
You actually don't know the half of it, because there's rumors going around that we're going to, at the end, if the Death Riders are all there, involved in whatever way they're going to be, we're going to be seeing the return of another group that previously tried to take over AEW, and that they're going to be sold as the returning heroic baby faces. I don't know who's going to be buying that, but it's what you're going to be getting. You're going to be getting possibly, maybe, just maybe.
Dark Order?
No, the Dark Order. Okay, good one. No, you're going to be getting.
If anybody can take down the Death Riders, it's the Dark Order.
No, you're going to be getting a couple of certain EVPs and a former scapegoat. Maybe Okada is going to be by their side because he's still there as it is. But
in what world do Matthew and Nick Jackson think they're going to be returning heroes right now?
In their own little heads, in their own little world.
Being the Elite did just come back to YouTube.
I didn't see that. I heard somebody say something to that effect, but I checked the channel. I didn't see like a new episode or anything.
Oh, I think they've been teasing it at least. So.
Oh yeah. So there you go.
We will see. We will see. I don't know if that's the spot to do it. I mean, Parthy, if that happens, like, how brain dead would they have to be? Like that.
Well, people have been saying they've been brain dead for months and even years now. I mean, what's surprising?
That's why
anymore?
I'm saying.
But I don't think they've done anything like crazy egregious. Like to come back just now as faces when they were clearly heels when they left with no explanation, with not even that long of like a break, just seems insane.
Would be egregious.
It's their own little world. It's their own little playpen. Moxley, the EVPs, Tony Khan, they do what they want.
Well, that's why I'm saying, like, if you want AEW to get put in the right direction, do the right thing here and put the championship on Cope.
Yeah, even if they weren't playing in their own little world, I would say either Hangman or Darby, if you can get him back down from Mount Everest in one piece. I would say one of those two is the guy that's got to be the one to take this, even though it's a bad reign, it's one where someone's got to end it in a very triumphant way. And I think either Hangman, the way he's been getting momentum lately, or Darby is a fan favorite. Hopefully he's going to be, good to go at some point if he comes back ever. But I mean, Cope is, what is he, 52 at this point? Do you want to get the championship on him just like Bryan Danielson, just to have him in the championship lineage? Because I don't know if he can carry a title for that long.
Dude, did you? My explanation was literally put it on Cope. Either if you want to do your thing with Christian, do it quick, and then put it on Swerve right away.
Yeah,
dude, you could have it on Cope or Christian for like a month. Do it on a big Dynamite show.
I agree. We have answered a lot of questions here, but it is time for some train wreck trivia before we wrap up this prediction episode.
Batavia down is more, lots more.
All right, speaking of winning more, lots more, who won the first Revolution main event and who did they defeat in AEW?
Ooh.
The first AEW Revolution event, I'll give you a hint, it was actually in 2020.
That was no. That was Kenny Omega, but it was over somebody else. But that was the infamous.
Incorrect.
It was not Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega on that show teamed with Hangman Adam Page to defeat the Young Bucks in a tag team.
Oh, I'm thinking the next year. Okay, I got my years crossed.
Yeah.
Okay. The infamous death match that didn't have an explosion at the end.
Oh,
That's
yeah. Was this Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley?
Nope. This is Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley defeats Chris Jericho for his first AEW World Championship. When Moxley came in AEW, that crowd was hot. I'll never forget. But yeah, let's hope that AEW can restore speed. At the end of the day, I don't care what you say. It's better when both shows are doing well. Even if AEW or WWE is downtime, it's never really fun. It just makes it a little bit more annoying. So hopefully AEW has a huge revolution and gets some momentum going into the middle of March. But any final thoughts, boys?
I've heard rumors that they're going to try.
Which dirt sheet is right for tonight, Parthy?
Not the dirt sheets, not Melts, not Snap. I'm not going to say. But something about they wanted this to be the WrestleMania 40 ending, like Avengers level stuff. And it's been going back and forth between, ideas like from like 15 people to 0 people to just one person involved. It's chaotic to say the least, at least what I've been hearing. So who the hell knows how overbooked or less overbooked that's going to be tonight. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. And it'll be interesting to see the reaction afterwards, however it goes.
Agreed.
I might acknowledge you here and there, but I don't acknowledge your sources. So I hope you're wrong. But yeah,
stuff can happen. We'll see.
I'm just ready to bring the boom.
Seriously, folks, we're ready to bring the boom. Thanks for bringing the boom with us on all platforms. For our head of the table, Mike Partham, for Slick Saturday, Slick Al, and myself, this has not been Wrestling with Your Conscience, not been Wrestling Your Budget. It is Wrestling with Emotion.
Give it to me. Give me what I want.